Hi everyone, Rudy Tatalia here. Thanks for joining me on this podcast where I'm going to be talking about the benefits of selling in steps. Now, what do I mean by selling in steps? Well, what I mean is we need to sell with a process in mind that's going to suit both ourselves as the organization and will also suit and serve the client or potential client that we're trying to convert into a sale. The first fundamental question I guess we need to ask is, why do we actually need to sell in steps in the first place? Because the natural default mechanism of many salespeople and many business owners is, let's just ask for the sale up front. And the problem is, when we do that, we limit our ability to convert at a high level. And I'll be discussing through this podcast what I actually mean by that and what some of the benefits are around doing that. Because if we purely just go straight for the jugular, if you want for a better term, or straight for the sale, we then get into a situation when we're working purely on mathematics and numbers. And we do that anyway, no matter what sales we get involved with. However, we're not actually judging the inputs, or we don't actually have any inputs to judge to see what makes up that sale. We're judging the output only. And that's bad, because the output is made up of a series of inputs. And if we don't understand those inputs, if we're not selling in steps and breaking down the process, it's very hard for us to evaluate in a meaningful way what is working and what isn't working on the path to persuasion, on the path to selling our product or service to the particular target group that we're wanting to. So that's the reason why we need to sell in steps, so we can break down the process. And that benefits not only us, but hopefully we can set up the steps in a way that it benefits the customer as well, or the client. So let's look at ways that this actually benefits the customer. Well, the customer, depending on what they're purchasing, may not be ready at that particular moment to make a purchase. So if we're pinning all our marketing hopes on the fact that if we run a marketing campaign, we go out to this amount of reach or target market, we get a certain percentage back as a lead, and then we convert that percentage of the lead into a conversion. That's all good and fine, and that's the general way that plays out. We go from reach to lead and lead to sale. However, what we've forgotten is that if we work purely on a let's ask for the sale now, we miss out on a large percentage or a larger percentage of customers that are not willing to do something or not ready to do something right now, but may be ready in a week, a month, a year, maybe even 2 years, depending on what it is we're selling. So in effect, we're not providing different touch points to the customer where we have the opportunity to provide value to them and to show them what it is that we're actually doing in our business is going to benefit them either short term or long term. So the customer ultimately misses out, because whether we think about it consciously or not, we're always on the look for a way to do something better, faster, quicker, more efficiently. And if we're providing that or can provide that as a business, and yet we're limiting ourselves because we're asking for the sale and not selling in steps, whereby we can use a variety of touch points to show our value, or to create value, or to build trust and build a relationship. We're ultimately doing ourselves a disservice, but we're also doing the customer a disservice, because they may find a competitor, either a direct or indirect competitor, that offers a similar solution, and it may not be anywhere near as good as what we can provide, but they may have a cleverer way, or more of a strategic way, to take that customer through a selling process. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it benefits us as well, because it allows us, selling in steps allows us to break down our process into steps, and to make sure that at every touch point that we are being in contact, or in contact with that client through the sales process, that allows us to look at ways that we can re-establish the brand category or the brand position. We can provide something of value at a particular touch point, depending on where we feel the client may be sitting within that sales journey or that sales process. It also allows us to continually showcase the strength of our brand and the way that we do things within our brand that might differentiate ourselves or provide us a unique sales opportunity or sales proposition that our competitors, for whatever reason, can't provide. So this is the important benefit for us, to actually break down our sales process step by step, and to look at ways that we can best be setting ourselves up for the next step, or for the sale, the overall sale. And so, as you can see, it benefits both the client and both ourselves if we go through the process of making sure that we're putting our best foot forward at every particular touch point that we come in contact with the client. And all of these things do feed into the psychology of selling. And one of the key things about selling, or marketing for that matter, is that people do make decisions emotionally. And so if we're not feeding that emotional level, or that emotional need in our client, we might find that we're not converting as high. And it's no different to marketing. If we've got a very beige, ordinary ad with no emotion going out there in the marketplace, and it might be press, radio, or TV, or whatever media channel we're using, if we're not building some sort of emotional response, it's going to limit our ability to bring that client in, to compel that potential client to come in as a lead into our business. So we are emotional creatures, and by breaking down our sales process, we get to evaluate where we think the emotional buttons are going to be in our target market or our target group. Another thing around the psychology of selling is that people do justify their decisions in the end with facts. So although we're emotional creatures, we need both the left brain and right brain to work together to build a support for the decision that we're going to make. And so although we might have some really great emotional triggers through our sales process, we need to make sure that we're providing people with substantial facts during the sales process as well around what we provide. And again, by breaking down our sales process into steps, we can look at where we should be approaching the client on more of an emotional level, and where we should be approaching that client on more of a factual and a functional level as well. We also have to remember that people are by default egocentric, and although that's got negative connotations to it, what that really means is we're continually asking the question, what's in it for me? And by looking at the individual touch points that we're selling to clients with, we can validate the what's in it for me at sometimes every stage or every second stage. But we can look for the best possible stage to validate the what's in it for me for the client. People also get tied up on value as well. And people are looking for value, and the more value that we create, the more money we can potentially ask for our product or service. So if we're providing value in steps to our client base instead of asking for the sale straight up, by building that level of value, and this is getting back into the laws of persuasion that Robert Cialdini developed. When we look at the one of those laws, which is the law of reciprocity, if we can be providing people with some value of some type, depending on what it is we're selling, by nature, people feel connected to us because we've given them something for free, and feel almost obliged to give something back to us. Now, that can be, hopefully, that can look like a sale. It can also look like a referral. And, both can be extremely valuable to our business. So we should look at the different touch points where we can actually show our own value as a brand and what we can provide, but actually manifest real value in the moment to the client. It could be a free ebook. It could be a free analysis. It might be a free appraisal of something that adds value to the client straight away. And so just those little nuggets there around the psychology really just substantiate what I'm saying, or add to what I'm saying around breaking down our sales process into tinier segments, and to look at the touch points in which we're engaging with our customers. And this is a nice segue into the customer journey. And one of the trends that's been going on, certainly in marketing in the last couple of years, is that businesses have been investing more money into the customer journey, into the customer experience. And the first thing we need to do is we need to understand what that journey is. We need to understand what path we're taking our clients and our potential clients down. And by breaking that down, we then start to understand what psychology our clients might be in at that particular touch point, and what is the best way for us to deliver value and make it the most convenient it can be for our customer in that particular moment as well. By actually bringing in a sales process, we also keep people engaged and interested. So we can be opening up loops in one touch point and closing that loop in a second touch point and opening up another loop of the third touch point. So we can be continually taking our clients down, or our potential clients down a particular journey, while keeping them engaged at the same time. So one of the issues with selling outside a step process is that we can potentially be asking for the sale too soon. However, we could also be potentially asking for the sale too late. Both are bad. So we need to find that sweet spot within the sales process that we know we've given enough evidence to support what we're doing, what our argument is, why people should be coming to us. We've given them enough value. We've built enough of an emotional connection that now we can ask for the sale. And by selling in steps, that process happens a lot more organically. So a lot of times I know in my business, I don't actually ask people for the sale. So I'm not actually saying to someone, so would you like to buy that now? Because I've gone through a process of building that relationship over different touch points, that both of us come to the conclusion that we want to work together. We want to do business together. And that's a beautiful way for a relationship to be formed, because it means that I feel like I'm adding value to what my customer requires, and my customer feels I'm adding value. And also I feel like the customer is adding value to me. So it's a very rhythmic flow of a relationship. And it's not going to say impossible, it's near impossible to get that out of just going direct for the sale without taking people through that set process. Again, looking at the follow-up and how we follow up with clients, we need to be doing that in steps as well. So yes, we might take people through a lead nurturing type journey, but it doesn't stop once we've created the quote, developed a proposal. Now we go into the follow-up stage, the follow-up process, and that needs to be in steps as well. We need to make sure that we are building value as we go. We're telling our prospects something new and interesting. We're not just ringing them up and saying, are you ready to buy yet? Or sending them an email saying, I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you going ahead with this or not? We have to be a little bit more strategic nowadays with that sort of process. And of course, it depends on the relationship we have with the client. Some clients we can be extremely direct with, and we can say that. But many times, we'll still want to take them through some sort of follow-up process to make sure that we're setting them up in the best possible position for a future sale. Knowing that when we are marketing, or if we've got a marketing team out there providing marketing for us, that we'll have a small percentage, some average, some industry statistics put it at 2% that are ready to buy with us right now. There's other industry statistics that say around 8% are interested in what we have to offer but are not ready to buy at this moment. And it's because of that we need a process to cover the 2%, of course, because that's bringing sales into our business straight away. But we also need a process to cover the other 8% that will potentially be clients of ours down the track. So there's just some key points around how we should sell, or the benefit of selling in a set process. I hope that's been of some value for you. My name's Rudy Tatalia. If you'd like to know more about what I do, please visit my website, teammarketing.com.au. Drop me a line and let's have a chat about how I might be able to benefit your business. Thanks again. Bye for now.